Shout it out right here on your classic metal show. That is Fifth Angel, and a band who made a comeback with a CD this year. Unfortunately, the days have passed when something like that really matters anymore.
Yeah, Fifth Angel, they were here, they were gone. No one got it, and nobody's going to get it now.
Yeah.
Other than you.
Well, they went through the pains of putting together new disc and all that other stuff, and it just kind of came and went.
Dude, look at the Angel release. Angel put out a record a couple months ago. Already forgotten. I don't think we even talked about it.
Angel?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they put out a record like 2 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Look. I know they did. It was called... Well, maybe it's not on here. I don't know what it's called. Somebody will tell me. Somebody in the chat room tell me what it is. I've heard it's a good record. I haven't heard it. Risen.
Okay.
I have not heard it personally, and nobody marketed it to us to actually talk about it, and whatever.
Well, that's the whole thing, though. You know, you got a guy like Tim James, who, you know, we talked to him earlier tonight about the whole Motley Crue reunion.
Yeah.
And his whole question is, do you think there will be new music? It's just like, does anybody care?
He does. He's about it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. But from a perspective that it makes it worthwhile to record and release and all whatever, does anybody care?
No. Not really. Wow. 17 tracks. 17 songs from Angel.
Yeah.
My goodness. That's a lot.
It is.
There you go.
All right. Well, I got a couple of subjects here to cover, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good. Were we going to talk about the wrestling thing since you were in?
Oh, yeah. Well, that actually was one of the ones that I actually sent you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that since you are a wrestling fan, and I know we do have wrestling fans in our crowd.
Sure.
And you could shed more light on this than me because, you know, obviously I'm not a fan, but this goes back to everything that we talk about, that you, no matter what you do or say, you have to watch every fucking word that comes out of your mouth or you'll lose your livelihood over it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the thing, and you can look up if you could look up an article, because I don't have one in front of me. I'll just kind of lead while you find this.
No, I have it. I have it right here in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and start, and then I'll jump in.
All
because
right.
I know I'm very well versed in both Jim Cornette and the show that he was on, because I watch it. It's called NWA Power. And the thing about that show, remember I told you that there was the wrestling show that uses Dawkins into the fire?
Yeah. I recognize the name when I read this article.
Oh, well, it's this show.
Yeah.
So, and I listen to Cornette's podcast every single week, so I'm very up to date with him and what's going on with this outrage.
Yeah. Professional wrestling mainstay Jim Cornette has resigned his position with the National Wrestling Alliance. Effective immediately, Jim Cornette has resigned from the National Wrestling Alliance, the company said in a statement released on Wednesday. As an announcer on the November 19th edition of the NWA Power, Jim made remarks during a singles match between Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch that were both offensive and do not meet the high standards of decency and good faith of the National Wrestling Alliance. To ensure that such an error could never happen again, we've established new procedures of review for all NWA programming going forward. We sincerely regret our failure in this regard.
Great.
Cornette had been working as a color commentator, interesting position in light of the comment he made.
He apparently only color commentated for one color.
Right. on the NWA's recently launched weekly YouTube wrestling show, NWA Power. But during the November 19th episode, he said, Trevor Murdoch is the only man I've ever known that can strap a bucket of fried chicken on his back and ride a motor scooter across Ethiopia. Trevor Murdoch can take care of himself. Viewers quickly responded, condemning the statement as racist, with the NWA briefly pulling the episode off the YouTube to edit that out. Mm-hmm. Cornette has been in a professional wrestling business for most of his life, working in numerous major and independent promotions. Throughout this time, he has worked in various on-screen and behind-the-scenes roles, including a commentator, promoter, and manager. He is also currently host of 2 podcasts. That would be the Jim Cornette Experience and Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru. Which one is it, the one you listen to?
I actually listen to both, but the one I listen to every week is The Experience.
Okay. Around the same time, the NWA released their statement. Doesn't NWA stand for niggers with attitudes?
Well, in some circles.
Why is this so out of place for this?
Well, I guess it ain't in this circle.
All right. Cornette posted the following on Twitter.
Yeah.
Morning, everyone. Heard any good jokes lately? This coming Friday's Jim Cornette Experience, wherever you find your favorite podcast, is liable to be a good one if you like hearing stupid people told what they can do with their stupidity. The NWA was originally founded in 1948 with Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan purchasing the brand in 2017. Based in Atlanta, Power was launched in early October and was positioned as a throwback to the studio style of wrestling show of the 1970s and the 1980s.
It's awesome. I will say that. Before we go further, I will say, as a fan of wrestling, it is awesome. It really is a throwback. Like it's the studio that they film in. They probably have 150 people at most sitting on bleachers on like one half of the ring, and then the other half is a table where the announcer sits, and then there's like a little podium where they all yell at each other.
Yeah, it's kind of like the scene you see in the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah, it really is. It's old school. If anybody that grew up watching wrestling in the early 80s on TV, you would watch like WWF's Main Event, and then you would watch NWA.
Okay.
And they've gone out of their way to recreate this NWA, including even like all the art and stuff is like old 8-bit graphics and stuff. I mean, they've really tried to make it look like it's 1978 again.
Yeah, they've tried to go retro.
Yeah, and even the ring, when people get slammed on the ring, remember in the old days when people got slammed on the ring and it sounded like they were getting slammed on a piece of sheet metal?
Yeah,
you probably
don't, yeah. Well, no, I know it. It sounds like they're being landed on a piece of plywood.
Yeah,
boom.
Well, they've really accentuated that.
Okay,
and I mean it's really an old school throwback. Now the reason I'm bringing that up is because they brought in Cornette 100% to bring back that old school feel,
the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, they want, as a commentator, Cornette's out of touch with. First of all, you're gonna like this part. It's almost karma biting this guy because he is a super duper left-wing radical kook.
Okay.
Like half of his podcast is just smashing people that vote for Trump, and then anybody that would vote for Trump is a fucking idiot and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, he mixes in his politics with his show.
Okay.
So it is funny that he got fired by the exact politics that he fucking, supports.
Right.
That to me is funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
But in the end, he didn't do anything wrong. As far as what he was hired to do, he was doing exactly what he was hired to do, which is call these matches in an old school way, use old school references, and what they're trying to do is tie this new class of people to the old wrestlers. So they're constantly referencing, the old wrestling, and like Nick Aldis is the champ now. And they put him on the same list as the old champs, the Ric Flairs and the, Ole Andersons and stuff. They try to compare them and make it all like it's one thing instead of two different things separated by 35 years or whatever.
Right.
Well, Cornette is that bridge by using these old references. And in this case, the reference that he used is only race if you're going to gravitate toward the racist feel of what he said.
Okay.
What he said was, this guy, Trevor Murdoch, who's got to be 60 years old, is so tough that he could strap a bucket of chicken on his back and ride through Ethiopia.
Yeah, I get you.
The way that this was taken as offensive, was Ethiopians are black and bucket of chicken.
Yeah.
The way he meant it
was that the Ethiopians are hungry and they would chase this guy down to get something to eat.
Kid with overextended belly from not eating and flies in his face, eating the chicken, seeing the chicken. And
I get it. They're rabid dogs hungry for anything.
Exactly.
I got that when I first read that. I did not read that as a racist thing.
And it wasn't. And here's even more proof that this is just 100% reactionary and not even the beliefs of the company itself, whether you're saying Billy Corgan or whoever at the company NWA.
Right.
These they said in that article, and even what they wrote in this article is misleading. They said that this was on the November 19th episode of Power, correct?
Yes.
Well, here's a news flash. They film these things 6 episodes at a time. So this shit was filmed. This is the last one before the pay-per-view.
Okay.
So they filmed this 6 weeks ago and didn't edit it. So even having this filmed for 6 weeks, 6 weeks of production to do with this thing, they didn't deem it racist. Nobody in their quality control, nobody that watched it, none of their ownership or management or people that were involved regarded it as racist. It only got regarded as racist once it aired and some woke individual decided, oh my God, I'm offended by what he said.
Yeah, of course.
Fried chicken, that's offensive.
Of course.
So it wasn't offensive. And I will be honest, I thought Cornette's comments were funny on his podcast.
Okay.
And he didn't apologize, and good for him. He said, fuck this, it's fucking stupid. I'm not apologizing for shit.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, nor should he. What would an apology do? He's not getting his job back. So what would the apology do? Dumb.
I would like to know who it is that was outraged or, pointed his words out. I would like to know who these people are.
Who knows? There might not even have been I was thinking about that. There might not even have been an email to the NWA or any of the management or anything. You know what this could really be?
What is it?
Since it's a YouTube show, I wonder if they didn't get hit the way we got hit with a hate.
Well,
strike.
now that you bring that up, that would not surprise me.
Yeah, I wonder if they got hit with a hate strike and immediately pulled it down and were like, "Oh shit, we got to fix this."
Yeah, because that is their core audience, right? Or that's the only way they distribute the show.
Yeah, that's the only way that I know of that they distribute the show is through YouTube.
Okay, well that would make sense.
So I'll bet you there was not even a complaint, just somebody that fucking thumbs downed it and flagged it or whatever.
Or either the algorithms flagged it.
Or the algorithm could have too. Yeah.
And they go, holy shit, we can't have this because this is going to destroy our whole income base.
Yeah, exactly. So, the whole thing is pathetic. What he said was not racist. I mean, wasn't a good joke either, but it wasn't racist. It fit with what this NWA power is, which is old throwback. And in the old throwback 70s, they would say shit like that. They would make fun of, the Ethiopian, only 5 cents a day, they would make fun of that kind of shit. Or they would make fun of, the I will remember you dog ads or whatever. Yeah, right?
You know what? People had a better sense of humor back then. You could make jokes about stuff all the time, and it was just like, yeah, it's a stereotype joke, but that's what makes it funny.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I mean, look, there's no joke in the world that's not funny or that is funny when it doesn't take a perverted view of reality.
Of course.
That's what makes anything funny. How many people think that even a knock-knock joke is a fucking perversion of reality, if you think about it? It's a perversion of the wording that you're saying. And God knows those jokes are never funny. You ever heard a knock-knock joke that was funny?
Not really, no.
No. I mean, what kind of humor is there if you're not taking a perverse look at a stereotype or a societal issue or whatever. I mean, those are the big two, society issues and stereotypes.
Well, two of the biggest comedians that ever were that filled arenas was Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay.
Right.
And both of their forms of comedy were perverse.
Yeah. Dude, look at how awful we thought that female comic was when we saw Chris Porter.
Yeah.
When she was telling her jokes that were they weren't even jokes as much as her just talking about her life.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing like a perverted look at her life or anything. She was just like, yeah, I got fat. Now I'm fat. I lost weight, so I'm less fat, but I'm still fat.
Yeah.
And no one was laughing. If she would have come across and done more of a, I look at food and gain 20 pounds. I'm a rhinoceros hitting my bathtub, whatever. Any kind, and I'm not saying either of these that I just made up on the fly are funny. I'm just saying if she would have gone with some kind of
ridiculous analogy,
anecdote, it could have been funny.
Yeah.
And just she didn't, and it was unfunny.
Yeah, I mean, if she got to be even vulgar to where she said, yeah, I gained a lot of weight. Even my meat flaps were fat or something like that, Mm-hmm. Something like that. It's like, that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable. It's funny, but it's just like, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Right, of course. And Mike in the chat room, we know no one got fired, but Cornette quit because he was told he would be fired, and they gave him, because of his 50 fucking years in the business, they gave him the opportunity to walk away.
Yeah, they didn't want to disgrace the guy and said, you're fired, like they did that Don Cherry guy that we learned about last week.
Right. And part of that, too, as well as the 50 years, is the fact that they themselves realized that he didn't say anything racist, that it was just a reactionary move by them.
Yeah, because they aired the thing.
Yeah. So they're reacting.
Yeah, whoever edited the thing and posted it to YouTube, they're just as culpable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing is silly, and I hate it that Cornette got fired because he's funny on the show, but whatever. It sucks. I'll still listen to his podcast. I guess I'm supposed to unsubscribe now to prove how woke I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the fuck out of here. Now I'm going to tell everybody, subscribe. The Jim Cornette Experience. It is actually pretty funny.
All right.
And if you're a fan of wrestling, you'll definitely learn something because he really digs deep.
I still think Lou from the Lou should have his own podcast on hockey. I really do. He loves that game.
Yeah. He loves the game, but do you see Luke committing to even an hour a
No,
week?
I can't. But my point is that he loves it so much and he's got so much insight and thoughts on different teams and his own team and whatnot, that he actually probably could do a pretty good job at that.
Would you listen to it?
If he had the same delivery that he has with us.
Yeah. I'd listen about once a month.
Yeah. But the thing is that, you and I act as a catalyst for stuff like that.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But I listened back to, he called in twice last week. He just made me laugh.
Right.
He's just funny.
No.
All right, one more subject. Are you done with this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's all that was. I just knew that was a national story that I could actually be somewhat knowledgeable on.
Well, the reason I brought that up was because of that whole Don Cherry thing that we learned about last week.
Mm-hmm.
That, these commentators, announcers, you step out of line, say one goddamn thing, and it's just like, you're out of here!
Yeah, pal.
It's like this word thing is getting so fucking ridiculous.
It is. It's out of control.
You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't wear a sombrero.
So dumb.
I know. It's just like, you're going to face some kind of consequences for doing that.
Yeah, pal.
Yeah, because you're going to think right, or we're going to make you think right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the end of the... do you remember, since you watch a lot of the same documentaries that I do?
Yeah.
The end of the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do with a lot of those Vietnamese people in the South? What did they do with them? Aside from kill a lot of them.
I don't know. What did they do with the people?
They sent them to re-education camps.
Well, that's right. You're right.
That's what we're into. Well, we're going to have to send you to a re-education camp to make you to get that wrong think out of your head.
Yeah, good luck. You're just going to have to either kill us or wait till we die.
But isn't that what these diversity and inclusive workshops and things are? They're re-education camps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Same thing.
Yep. Crazy.
It is.